You're listening to Life Repurposed, where you'll find practical biblical wisdom for everyday living, creative inspiration, and helpful resources. Grow your faith, improve your relationships, discover your purpose, and reach your goals with topics to encourage you to find hope amid the trashy stuff of life. Thanks for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Rayburn. Hey there, welcome to episode number 122. This is the last episode in season 4 of this podcast. We'll start season 5 in January. Most of the season has been dedicated to featuring the stories from the authors in the Life Repurposed book. And this episode drops on Thanksgiving Day, so I think it's appropriate to take some time to offer gratitude. I don't want the whole episode to play like a really long version of church announcements, so let me give you an idea of the direction we're going in the next 20 minutes. You know what to expect. First, I'm going to share my thanks. Then I'll share a couple of celebrations. Then I'll share some opportunities for you. And lastly, I'll give you 3 tips to keep your sanity over the next month of holidays. It's practical enough to apply all year long, but perfect for the 5 weeks from Thanksgiving all the way to New Year's. First, before we get into that, a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Mission and Media. If you'd like to publish a book and do it professionally without going through a publisher, your first order of business is finding someone who has your back. I help independent publishers with the editing, design, and coaching to publish books on your own and with the quality standards and design to match traditional publishing. Mission and Media is not a publisher. Instead, I like to think of myself as a book doula. You'll put in a lot of hard work and you'll need to treat your writing and publishing as a business, but I'll help you birth the book. If you're interested in learning more about indie publishing, go to missionandmedia.com and take the free assessment to see if you're a good fit for doing it yourself. That's missionandmedia.com. Okay, let's get started with some gratitude. First, I want to thank you, listeners, for downloading a record number of episodes this year. Episodes were downloaded more than 15,000 times from January until November when I'm recording this episode. I also want to thank all of you who have joined the Life Repurposed Facebook community since it launched earlier this year. We're just starting to grow, and if you haven't already joined, I encourage you to do that. I also want to thank my sister Becky, who's been assisting me virtually with getting show notes posted and social media posts added and interacting on the Facebook community and keeping things going there as well. She's been a huge help to me, so I appreciate just knowing that she's got my back all the time. I want to also thank all of you who are listening for leaving reviews and sending comments. I do this for you, sweet listener, and hearing from you lets me know that I'm hitting the mark and fulfilling my mission. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be on this side of the microphone talking at all, because it isn't really for me, it's for you. So thank you so much for when you offer feedback, because it lets me know that I'm doing something that's making a difference for you and helping you in your life. The next thing I want to do is some celebrations. In March, I launched the Life Repurposed book with 34 stories written by women who have experienced the power of transformation in their lives. These stories of grace, hope, and restored faith are making a difference, and I love hearing stories from people who have been impacted in some way by something that one of the authors has shared in the book. The book is available at retailers around the world and is also on Audible as an audiobook. So I'm celebrating that too, because getting that recorded and produced was a huge task. So I love how it ties into the message of this podcast and how so many of the interviews that we've done this year have been from the authors in that book. I'll share in the show notes how you can get a copy if you still haven't picked one up. One other celebration, this fall, I won first place in 2 book awards and placed as a finalist in a 3rd award for my book, Classic Marriage, Staying in Love as Your Odometer Climbs. I'm thankful for this really great honor, and I'll be featuring more content from that book in coming episodes, so I just wanted to celebrate that here. Now for some opportunities for you. I'm looking for episode sponsors for 2022. So if you have a brand, a business, a podcast, a book, or a product that you'd like to feature in a spot, please contact me about sponsorship rates. You can also find a link in the show notes to contact me, or you can go to michellerayburn.com/sponsors and get more information about that there. If you're a friend of the show and you'd like to offset the cost of weekly production with a donation, you can use the Buy Me a Coffee button in the show notes, which is awesome. So that's available if you'd like to help, because it does cost something. I pay my virtual assistant, and also there is time in the production. So that's just a way of having you have the opportunity to tell me that you appreciate the show and what it does for you. Another opportunity for you is with the Life Repurposed book. I've been donating a portion of the royalties to Destiny Rescue for helping rescue victims of human trafficking. And if you'd like to contribute directly to the fundraiser with more donations, I invite you to check that out. I'm going to have a link in the show notes, but here's the website where you can go straight to our fundraising page. It is go.destinyrescue.org/liferepurposed. So again, that'll be in the show notes. But what you can do then is help us to reach the goal even faster. Book sales are not super high right now. It's just a season that a lot of book authors are in. And so donating a portion of the royalties doesn't get us to that goal as fast as if you want to just directly donate right to that fund helping rescue people. It's something that I really care about because human trafficking destroys lives, and I want to see those lives repurposed into something beautiful as well. Now, I promised you that I would give you 3 tips to keep your sanity over the holidays, so here those are. This next month is usually a blur of activity for most of us, and we don't want to lose the momentum we've had over the last year, but when we get busy, many of us tend to coast. At least I do. I know that there's times in December where I start to give up on my goals, and I sort of just coast into the end of the year, and it's hard to pick that momentum back up again in January. There are also many reasons to feel stressed right now at this time of year. I'm recording this in November. We're still in a pandemic. We're still having fallout from that. And so there's stress from that. There's also just a lot of things going on. And people, I talk about family dynamics and so many things that give them reason to just feel a little out of sorts right now. So this is how I plan to keep my sanity during the holiday season. And I thought it might help you too. Plus, most of it is good advice year-round or for whenever we're extra challenged by life circumstances. So here we go with 3 tips to keep your sanity over the holidays. 1, wait to start anything new. A friend shared this advice with a group of podcasters that I'm in, and it resonated with me because I was thinking about how often we get to the end of the year and we want to start something new. I think this advice is really smart because this is not the time to begin a new program or launch a new product or a book. Everyone is Christmas shopping, but they're so overloaded with ads already and the things happening that they're not necessarily going to look for our new product that's coming out. Also, it isn't a time to start a major health change or a change up of a routine because our routines get really thrown off. And of course, our eating gets really thrown off by the holidays. So I've tried this before and I've run out of steam really fast when trying to make drastic changes. So instead of starting something new, let's say with health, you can focus on eating or exercising in something that's doable, like adjusting it in some way where it's a little bit healthier, but not like a giant diet or something like that. So for example, setting some boundaries on when I'm going to eat sweets or exercising on a different, just a little more consistent schedule during that time. This is also a time where we can focus on doing what you've been doing even better. So you can look for unfinished business from the past year and see if you can make it more efficient, wrap up some of those goals, maybe eliminate some of them because something has changed over the last year. So I would just encourage you to wait to start some big new thing and use this as a time to just celebrate success and finish up the year really well. Number 2, focus on relationships. When you're faced with the choice between tasks and people, you'll always win with choosing people. So I'm asking, can you let go of being Martha Overachiever Stewart and snuggle the little ones with a book? Or can you forego the mall madness and the Black Friday frenzy in favor of watching a movie with the family? Or how about Christmas cards? I've been not doing them for the last few years because it's just become a task. And you just put that signature on it and a stamp, or you do like a form letter and everybody gets the same letter. And it's so much more meaningful if I actually call somebody or I send a voice text. And so even though it's beautiful and I can hang up that card and the photo is really nice that goes with it, there are ways that we can focus on relationships by not just making it a to-do list, but doing something more meaningful. So look for some ways that your to-dos can be swapped for togetherness and focus on those relationships. Number 3, give more grace than gifts. This past year has been hard. Relationships have struggled and tensions are high, and stress makes the fuse a lot shorter. Also, for some of us, there's empty chairs at the holiday table more than ever before. We don't really need more gadgets. We don't need more gift cards. What we really need is grace. Colossians 4, verse 6 in the Passion Translation says, "Let every word you speak be drenched with grace and tempered with truth and clarity, for then you will be prepared to give a respectful answer to anyone who asks about your faith." The amount of grace that we demonstrate to other people actually demonstrates something about our faith. There have been times when I realize that I'm pre-planning for what offensive thing someone is going to say to me during a gathering and what I'm going to say or do about it. Like I make this whole story up in my head. Like I know so-and-so is going to say that thing and it's going to press my button. So when it presses my button, I'm going to get up and I'm going to leave. Or I'm going to say this and I'm going to plan. And it's like I'm assuming someone will offend me. So I plan for someone to offend me, really, and I plan for offending them back. How about instead of assuming someone's going to offend me, I plan for how I will bless someone with my words? Grace is not always a defensive response, but an offensive move. So here's the thing. Sometimes we think we need to offer grace as a defense when someone says something harsh or somebody offends us. But what if we're offensive about it and we don't even wait for that to happen? We just look for ways that we can offer kindness and grace first before there's any harsh words. It's just like an automatic thing. So that's my commitment myself this year, and so I'm inviting you to join me on that as well in giving more grace than gifts. So those are the 3 things. I'm going to tell you now about a resource that I've created especially for you if you want to put this into practice during the holiday season. For a resource today, I've created a free printable for you, and it's going to be linked in the show notes. It's a PDF that you can download and print. It's just a colorful thing, one sheet. And it has those 3 goals on there. It's a commitment to yourself. And so you can print it out and then you can sign your name on it. And the 3 things say, I'll wait to start anything new. I'll focus on relationships. I'll give more grace than gifts. And then there's a place you sign it and you can hang it up somewhere where you're going to see it over the next 5 weeks. Wherever that is, you can tuck it in your Bible. You can hang it on the fridge, anywhere that you need a reminder. Now, I have a bonus for you. In the Facebook community, I'm going to upload a version along with that can be used as wallpaper on your phone screen. So if you're like me, every time you pick up your phone, I actually have photos of my grandkids on there, but every time you pick up your phone, there's this home screen that comes up. And I've put those 3 things on there so that during the holiday season, you can pick up your phone and you can see those 3 commitments. I'm not going to start anything new. I'm going to focus on these relationships. I'm going to give more grace than gifts. So that's just going to be a photo image that you can add in your settings on your phone. You'll find that in the Facebook community. So if you haven't already joined, you can go ahead and join and you can grab that. There's also discussion there that you probably want to be part of because it's really nice to get to know other people who are on the same journey. I have some other resources for your Christmas shopping. Since I'm not going to be on any episodes in the coming weeks, I encourage you, if you're looking for a gift for women, something that you can just tuck in a stocking or something that's just generally encouraging for your female friends. And I guess guys would want to maybe read it too, but I encourage you to pick up the Life Repurposed book, Stories of Grace, Hope, and Restored Faith. 34 stories there to encourage somebody, almost using it like a daily devotional is another way of really using that. So that's a resource you can pick up as a gift. Another one, if you're looking for a gift for couples, is the one I mentioned that won the award. Classic Marriage, Staying in Love as Your Odometer Climbs. This is a book for couples. I wrote the content and then my husband gave his humorous commentary throughout in little speech balloons. And then we have some resources for discussion in a relationship. So it comes in paperback and hardcover. So if you're looking for a gift, the hardcover really makes a nice Christmas gift. I'll link in the show notes to both of those. And I will also link to the other books that I've written if you're looking for gifts that you can purchase. And if you want to look back through past episodes, all of the resources that I've been sharing throughout the year would also make good gifts. Everything is going to be in the show notes at michellerayburn.com/122. Now, I'm going to be on a little bit of a break, like I said, in December as we get the episodes ready for 2022. And I've been doing the interviews already and starting the production. I've created some brand new graphics. There's going to be a new cover image for the podcast and some more bright and colorful graphics, things that you can share on social media if you want to. So that new look and all of that is coming in January. So I encourage you to enjoy this little break, focus on those relationships in the next couple of weeks, and then come back the first week of January. I'm going to be talking about goals in January, of course, not resolutions though. This is about goals and launching the new year well. And then we'll be getting into some other guest interviews and stuff throughout the year. So again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your encouragement and feedback. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. That's today, the day this releases. Have a Merry Christmas because that's coming up in between. And have a Happy New Year. And I will see you at the start of 2022. You've been listening to Life Repurposed with Michelle Rayburn. Check out tips, resources, and inspiration at michellerayburn.com to get the show notes for this episode. Each week, I share links to everything mentioned in the episode, graphics you can share, and guest quotes. I also invite you to join the Life Repurposed Facebook community for weekly conversation with others on the journey of discovering the repurposed life. Before you go, which friend needs to hear this episode? Share a link with a note to invite them to listen. And thank you for listening too.